I'm calling out to you. Come get me. Come get me. Ineos has had a message coming through from Michael Olise, who is calling them out to come for him. Well, welcome to the United Road Sport. My name is Webb. It's an update concerning Man United and the summer transfer business, which is expected to be exciting now. What is coming through from Old Trafford right now is that Ineos are already trying to make quick moves. They are preparing an initial bid for Michael Olise in the summer transfer window. After that man of the match performance in Crystal Palace's obliteration of Manchester United, it's clear, man. It's clear. They have got to go for this guy. They have made up their minds. No wonder long time ago they had decided that this is the boy they're going to go for in the event that Mason Greenwood is not returning. So they are saying now, if we get the money, we're going for him. They're just trying to put together a bid and try to listen and see what's the clear valuation of the player when it comes to Crystal Palace. Remember, he was reportedly about priced about 80 million or thereabout. Crystal Palace could go a little lower than that, despite them extending his contract just early this season. But Ineos are so determined, not after that performance that sent Casemiro to Saudi Arabia. Football, bloody hell. Anyhow, so but here is the only worry for Ineos, and this is why, by the way, Eric Ten Hag is in trouble. I dropped you a video earlier that Eric Ten Hag might be in trouble. You know why? Because certain big time players do not seem to be excited by playing under Eric Ten Hag. That when Ineos is worried that when they approach certain big players, they will turn down the idea of joining their project if Eric Ten Hag is at the helm of it. Why? Because it is clear that Eric Ten Hag does not really have players enjoy their football. I've said this consistently. The players at Manchester United do not enjoy their football because they do not really enjoy the way Eric Ten Hag believes in football. His one route style, but also the intensity of his game for everyone, they don't enjoy it. I'll give you an example with Michael Olise himself. You saw how he was celebrating his goals against Man United when he ran to his coach Glasner and was hugging him. You know what Glasner has changed when he took over from Roy Hodgson? He has made Michael Olise and Eze become more expressive and they're enjoying their football. That's why they do the things they do so easily because you see they sell their talent, you see their skill because you see players who are expressive, who are happy enjoying their football. Now, players today, players like Michael Olise want that. They don't want managers who are going to restrict you. You don't think Eric Ten Hag gives players freedom. He just demands from players to play with intensity and intensity even when it is not necessary. So most players, like you would say, I've said it before, Paul Scholes said the same thing, that it is impossible that Manchester United players, as bad as they look, it is the coaching and some of the players are not really for the methods that Eric Ten Hag much so believes in. That's why they do struggle. So Paul Scholes has hinted on that, and that could be an impediment to possible signing of certain players who we deem important. Now, players like Michael Olise, imagine Olise playing under this Eric Ten Hag. I don't think it would happen. The style is not expressive for a player like Michael Olise. It would restrict him a lot. He wouldn't enjoy his football. So that's a concern for Ineos. So that's why right now, as we speak, the talks have come up again, suggesting that Ineos are considering bringing in Gary Southgate. And they are still looking for a replacement. The reason they are delaying to confirm the departure of not of Eric Ten Hag is because they are yet to confirm an option because you cannot sack, then you start looking for who to come in. So they are quite not sure of the options. They are looking at their options, but Gary Southgate is back in the conversation now. Not so many of us are excited and moved by Gary Southgate, but in all honesty, if Dan Ashworth is coming in, I wouldn't really feel so bad if Eric Ten Hag was replaced by Southgate, knowing how the two work together with the England DNA, maybe they could bring the magic. And, we see that even make more sense at the club level. Of course, Southgate is not your world class manager per se, but he's the England manager who could even win a major title. You cannot, dispute him. But the fact that the structure involves at the top guy who he worked with and did wonders with England, maybe that is what Ineos themselves are hinging on to try and trust him. But also the fact that he would command respect, having been a national team coach of England during one of their best generations or times as a nation. So there's that bit of respect that will come to him, especially with the players. So Eric Ten Hag is facing such issues that his stay at Manchester United could block the possible acquisition of players that Ineos wants, but they don't think Eric Ten Hag would improve them. Because you look at Man United, honestly, and think, has Eric Ten Hag really improved any players since he joined? Think about it in all honesty. I look at these players and I'm thinking, which player has Eric Ten Hag improved? I feel like Garnacho has stagnated for so long. I've said it. He does not get to the next level. He's just there. I don't see Eric Ten Hag improving Antony. I don't see Eric Ten Hag improving Hoyland. In fact, he's making him worse because now he's even draining more. He's being drained a little more. He's made to look like a mechanic, yet he's a safety player. I don't see Eric Ten Hag. I haven't seen him improve Bruno. Bruno is just working hard. I haven't seen Eric Ten Hag improve who? Which players? I don't think so. So good players want managers who are going to improve them. So that's why Ineos is worried that with Eric Ten Hag, they might fail to attract these good players because the players won't have confidence. They won't have the confidence that this manager is going to improve them, and that is bad. So the manager's stay might impede our chances of getting players. Remember, already we don't have so much money, so you have to sell a project in a way that will attract players. But if you were a player, let me put it to you, if you were a footballer like Michael Olise, would you be moved by the idea of playing under Eric Ten Hag in this style that we play if it's there anyway? Would you be moved? Would you be excited that United is calling you? Yes, you will be moved because Olise is believed to be a boyhood United supporter, but you would be moved because it's United. But then you think about your career and you're thinking, if Arsenal wants me, there's Mikel Arteta. If so and so wants me, there's this coach. You will assess, you will have thoughts and think, am I going for this guy? What is he going to add on my game? Will he make me better or not? So all those questions will linger in your head. And trust you me, many players who believe in their talent, who are young like Olise, who is just over 20, I think just over 20, under just 22. Many of these young players will think about it and go like, you know what, I'm not going to this guy, I'm not sure about it, and they will look for a club that has a manager who will give them better opportunities to move to the next level, so that maybe in 2 3 years when they're at the peak of their time, Real Madrid could come for them, because a player like Michael Olise is properly Real Madrid material. That if he steps up his game, if he gets a good manager, steps his levels to the next stage, trust you me, Real Madrid can be coming for him in 2 or 3 years when he's 25 or thereabouts. So certainly the prolonged stay of Eric Ten Hag, whereas we might have these feelings with about him that the injuries and what have you. Besides him, it's not even about the injuries and what issues have caused him United to struggle. It's the style he plays might not be attractive to good players out there that we might want to sign in this rebuilding process. And for that reason, Eric Ten Hag, trust you me, is going to be sacrificed. I think the countdown is about to begin. The moment Ineos locks in their replacement, trust you me, Eric Ten Hag is going to be shown the exit. I can bet on that. I think they have made their decision. I think it's clear now. These players are not as bad as they are made to look, whereas, yes, the injuries are there, but the style of play is not convincing and it is not attractive to the biggest or most important assets of a football club. Those are the players. If you're not going to attract players, if you're not going to make talented players express themselves, if you're not going to make players happy, how will they play for you? They won't. It is said there are reports that came out suggesting that Eric Ten Hag lost it at some point because of his poor communication. He doesn't know how to motivate players. He's a hard guy. He's the way he talks to players is so commanding. He's a boss of and you think about it and you're like, I think I've said it before here. One issue I think I've had with Eric Ten Hag is his rigidity. Because a manager who is flexible wouldn't be playing the same formation. You're conceding goals the same way today, the next day, and the other day, but you're still doing the same thing and trying to defend it and look, like a joke to everyone. He wouldn't. So Steve McLaren, I'm thinking, sits on the bench and he's like, "What's this?" McLaren worked with some of the best players United has ever had before, and he's a manager who, Paul Scholes said it. He would, try to solve that and create order and a structure in the middle. He cannot be continuously. So it's clear that perhaps McLaren is also not, his opinions are not heard by Eric Ten Hag because he's the boss. So there is a big mess down there, and Eric Ten Hag might be, I think, carrying his own cross right now. It might be on him, and very soon, trust you me, it will be sinking him down, because when it gets now to a point where the club is at the verge of losing potential important signings because they don't trust the manager, then that's a huge problem. Then there is nowhere, there's no way, well, there's only one way to go, to part ways with Eric Ten Hag, because it's the players first, because the club needs good players, that's a given, and the attraction that we might have is not playing in the Champions League, because we won't be there, but the hope that the manager will improve them and perhaps give them a chance to become legends of Manchester United by being part of the rebirth or rebuilding of this club that is looking headed to the dogs. So that's the situation. So Michael Olise, he made it clear. It looked like he was mimicking Marcus Rashford with this celebration. You might think he was attacking Marcus Rashford, telling him to shut up. He has no game, he has no ball. I'm coming to just spice it up in that role. So Ineos, 80 million quid or anything less. If they have a player, maybe Wan-Bissaka goes back to Crystal Palace in a swap deal. Take back Wan-Bissaka, add them some bit of cash, and we get Michael Olise. Because I'm sure Crystal Palace will need some cash as well. And of course, their biggest chance to get some money is in Michael Olise, if they really go ahead and let go of him in the summer. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. Subscribe.